Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name's Cinderellimouse and I'm here today with early access to the Sims 4 Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. So today I decided to continue this kind of tattooing makeup onto my Sims faces series where I can do custom makeup or basically in-game CC makeup using the tattoo system. And I wanted to follow some celebrity makeup tutorials, and who better than the wonderful, the fabulous Billie Eilish. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I feel like I say it wrong every single time, but I love her music. One of my favorite artists. She's always top of my like Spotify wrapped pages, and she recently did her makeup tutorial when she was getting ready to do a concert, and this kind of went viral on TikTok and all the girls started copying her. Now it is quite a young look, and some of the things that she's gonna do are the things that I kind of said Nancy shouldn't do if you saw her Republican makeup video, but I think because Billie is so young and so beautiful, she can get away with some of these like harsher makeup looks, which again is really interesting when you think of like who can wear what. I mean, anyone can wear what they want to wear, but I think some things suit certain face shapes, certain ages more than others. So I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, but you'll see the end result. Hopefully it'll be good and I'll do Billie Eilish proud. So I've got Summer Holiday here. She's very inspired by Billie and she really wants to kind of mimic that look. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go in and just remove her current makeup. Now you can actually see that I've given her a few spots, and no hate to Billie, like I have acne, I have to take tablets for it like daily. And so I think it's really lovely to see celebrities not being, what people consider to be perfect. And so in that little clip, you can actually see Billie kind of covering up her spots at one point. So I've gone in to the tattoo system and actually given Summer some custom spots, and I love that I can do that. I think that's really, really cool to be able to like actually even mimic the placement that Billie had when I saw her covering it on her face, like to be able to customize Sims faces and make their faces more human looking and interesting, I think is incredibly cool. And there's someone with adult acne. I want my Sims to suffer as I do. So yeah, we'll kind of cover that up as we do it. And so I want to get rid of those earrings as well. I don't feel like they're very Billie. But Billie, she actually ties her hair back with a hairstyle that's very, very similar to one of the hairstyles that comes with the new pack, like this one. And she has like a really cute little clip in it, which is adorable. So we're going to mimic that as well. So going in then to the tattoo system. So we go to body and tattoos, and then we're going to go to face tattoos and paint mode. And here we go. So I have a list. I made myself a list of what Billie does. And the first thing she does is she goes in with like a really dark brown eyeliner on her waterline. So we're going to go to probably this colour. I actually like, as I've kind of played around with this feature more and more, and I'm doing kind of makeup on Sims faces, what I really like to do is use colours that already exist on their faces and go in with something that feels very, very tonal. So if I can try and find a really dark brownish colour, I need to change this to brushes and get rid of that plumb bob. If I go in with like one of the darkest colours on a face, probably about here, and then if we make that a lot darker, like we can go in with this. So my favorite brush to use is this little teeny tiny one here, and then we're going to bring down that brush size as well. I might bring it up like 1 or 2, because what Billie does, if you watch that tutorial, she goes in with, oh gosh, that is really dark, isn't it? Too dark, make it go. Billie goes in and she does her makeup, and then she keeps using, are they called Q-tips, kind of like the cotton wool balls, to clean up the edges of what she does. So I think that's really nice as well, because it's kind of like, I don't have to be perfect. It's okay if this is messy. I can kind of like go back over it. I do not have the skill. So one thing like I want to try doing is using an art tablet. So if you do have an art tablet, you might be able to get like finer detail or finer control through doing it like that. Yeah, that is very, very messy. I don't like that. I'm gonna go get rid of that again. So again, don't be afraid of a little bit of trial and error. It's okay if you don't get it perfect the first time, but yeah, let's try this again. Here we go. This is looking a little bit better now, I think. Like I say, she does go in and she like blurs it out, and kind of like blends it in and tidies up the edges. So I'm going to be a bit less scared and I'm going to follow Billie's technique here. She goes right in on the waterline as well, like right in on the inside of her eyelashes, and then she does it on the top, but I can't reach that spot, so I'm just going to do underneath. And the interesting thing is she uses a lot of product under her eyes as opposed to over her eyes, which again is like almost the complete opposite of what I do. You know, being an older woman, that look, I cannot pull that off anymore. I just look tired. So that is kind of how she starts. And then what she does with her eyeliner is she goes straight out at the side. So what I would normally do on my eyes is follow this curve upwards like this. But Billie does almost like an Egyptian kind of side eye thing here. Like this. Let me turn her face slightly. So straight from the corner and then like horizontally out. And then what she does is she thickens that line up a little bit and makes it a little bit more pointy looking, so a little bit more triangular like this, to get like a really striking, almost like Cleopatra style eye at the side. And it looks amazing on her. She has such like sultry eyes. She's absolutely gorgeous. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. Again, I don't have the best art skills, so please do forgive me. If I was going to do this on my own Sims and not for a video, I'd probably take a lot longer to do it. I'd really kind of take my time, trial and error, going over things. But for this video, we're just getting like a rough look. So what she does next is she uses like an eyeshadow, like a really smoky brown eyeshadow, almost the same shade, and she goes in and she smokes out that under eye. So what I'm going to do is really reduce the opacity here, and maybe I might even go up a little bit. Let's see if I go to like 5 how this looks. So here we go. So she's like smoking out these edges and making them look really, really pretty. Actually, that is probably too opaque. Let me reduce that a little bit. And again, what I would do if I was like saying like tips for doing this yourself, I would actually say to reduce the opacity and build up the color rather than going in quite as heavy as I'm doing now. But again, I am on a time crunch here. I don't want this to be a 2-hour video of me doing the makeup, so I want to give you the impression rather than aiming for perfection right now. So here we go. I'm going to go a little bit on top of the eye. I didn't notice Billie doing this. Again, she tends to use a lot of the product under the eye, but I don't know. I just feel like I need to. So there we go. That is the start of something. And then going over here as well. And also, like I say, this has kind of become a bit of a TikTok trend in the makeup industry, where a lot of these makeup influencers are going in and kind of like replicating Billie's like makeup routine, and they all look absolutely stunning. And it's so interesting because, you know, going in like this, so heavy at the bottom of the eye, and even like the black on the inside of the waterline feels like almost like something that you're told not to do, especially like as a 40-year-old woman. Like, I know this would look bad on me, so you know, like Billie, being an artist who kind of like breaks the rules and kind of does her own thing, is continued through her makeup. Okay, so next up is where she goes in and actually cleans the edges. So I'm going to use this eraser tool, and I'm going to make sure this is really, really sharp and really saturated. And I'm just going to go in and kind of correct anywhere. Gosh, I need a steady hand for this. I'm going to go and try and correct anywhere where, you know, it's kind of looking a bit rough, or, you know, it's bleeding out at the edges, like this, just so it looks very, very clean and snatched. And again, I love that as well for, you know, the younger girls who are just kind of getting into makeup, who are probably big fans of Billie, you know, not feeling scared like they need to go in and get it perfect and right first time. But this idea of like, play around with your makeup, you know, if it doesn't look great, go in and like clean the edges, I think is like such great advice. I probably actually took too, I don't know, do you think that's good? I really like how sharp that is. Let's try and make this side a bit sharper as well. Let's go in and kind of thin this out a little bit. Again, I am not very good with like really strong eyeliner. I find it difficult to kind of like make it match on both sides, but that's my attempt. It's definitely not perfect. Then what she does is she goes into the inner corner. So I'm going to get my brush back rather than the eraser. And then she kind of goes in and makes like the inner corner really sharp as well. Like almost like an inner point like this. Can she do it? Can she do it though? I don't have the skills. I don't have the skills in real life for this kind of makeup, so trying to do it in the game with like zero art skills is a challenge, but I like it and I love playing around with this feature as well. So again, like play with this. If you are like me and you think I am not good at stuff like this, you know, just go in and play around with it. The more you play around with it, the more confident you become. And, you know, you'll be surprised actually at like what you end up doing in the game. And this idea as well of like, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just play with these features. And if you don't like it, you have the undo button, right? You have the delete button. You don't have to keep it. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. The next thing that I noticed Billie doing was she was going in with concealer. Now, what I could do is go for a shade that matches the skin colour that I'm trying to cover here, and kind of go in and kind of cover up some of these spots like this. So we could do that and just kind of go over it. But I could also just delete. I could just delete what I've done. So I'm going to do that with the eraser. If only we could go in and erase our spots in real life, but unfortunately, again, as an adult acne sufferer, I wish that I could do that. But we're going to pretend that's her concealer. Now, another thing that I noticed Billie doing is she uses very, very light foundation. Like she has a bit of concealer and doesn't really use foundation. She also avoids anything that could run. Now, if you think about this being something that Billie did before she went and did a performance on stage under really, really hot lights where she's kind of moving around, dancing a lot, she's going to be sweating. So one thing I did notice was that everything she was putting on her face was something that she wouldn't have to worry too much about, like that makeup sweating off. So that eyeliner can stay in place. And then another thing she does that's really interesting with the lips, which I'm going to come to in a minute. But before we do that, another thing that I see a lot of the younger makeup influencers doing, younger girls doing, is going in and drawing on freckles. I absolutely love this. So I'm going to go in with this and make it a lot smaller, like this. One thing that I wish we had here would be a smudge tool. Show hide tattoos and other body parts. Show hide painting mask. I don't know what that means. I'm going to be honest, I'm not an expert on this feature yet. So going in like this. And she starts off and just kind of like draws in her freckles like this. And kind of like just a kind of smattering like this. And then she kind of blends it out. So I do wish we had kind of like a blending tool. I think that would have been really, really useful. But I'm just going to go in and kind of like do a smattering of freckles. And again, I'm smudging this. So some of them I'm just clicking and some of them I'm kind of like clicking and dragging. And this is one thing that I do love about this feature is that, you know, you can like customize Sims faces more. So, you know, if you want to go in and create some really, really interesting characters, like that is now a possibility. You know, if you want to have some really unique like patterns on Sims faces, like that is something you can do, which I think is absolutely awesome. So again, I've tried to make it quite messy because, you know, that's what freckles are like. I don't feel like Billie uses so many freckles and I feel like hers are bigger, but if I go in now with something like maybe rather than the eraser, if I get the skin color that is close there and then I kind of make this really quite faded and a little bit bigger, maybe I can use this to kind of like blend it out or reduce it a little bit, you know, just kind of going over it with a softer color. Let's give this a try and see how we go with this. Again, just to create a kind of smudging effect. Yeah, it's kind of working. Can you see that? So I'm not completely erasing it. I'm just kind of blending it. I've gone completely silent because I'm like concentrating on this. So I'm going in actually quite hard with that color. I could probably try and again it's a toss-up for me between, do I do this well or do I do this fast? Let me go in a little bit like this. I think I've got the general idea. So it's not perfect, but it is starting to look a bit more natural. And I think that is pretty cool. One thing, again, this is almost the exact opposite of what I said in that Nancy Landgraf makeup over video. So as well as this really dark eye, they are definitely not even, are they? Please excuse the fact that they're not even. But one thing that she does is she goes in with like an actual quite heavy blush. So let me try and get something that feels quite pinky. There we go, like kind of peachy pinky. And then Billie goes in and she actually does quite a big effect on her cheeks like this. And again, this is something that I would say, you know, I was avoiding with Nancy because I think it does kind of age people. I think that's actually too light. Let me just remove that and we'll try again with like a darker version of that colour. Like, yeah, here we go. This is probably quite similar to what Billie's using. And she goes in with quite a big heavy blush on her cheeks, which again, I know that would look super wrong on me, but it looks absolutely adorable on her. The next thing she does is her highlighter. So going in with one of the lightest colours on her face, which is probably her forehead, and then making it even a tiny bit lighter. Again, I'm going to kind of reduce the opacity of this, even though she does go on quite heavy. I noticed with the highlighter, she actually does use quite a lot, which again, probably looks amazing under those stage lights. Now it hasn't got any shine to it. That's probably again a little bit too thick. Let's remove that. It doesn't have any shine to it because it's just color using the tattoo system, but you're definitely getting the right shades in the right places. So it does give a slight shine effect when you do this. So she goes in quite heavy here, and then also kind of like on the nose and along the bridge of the nose like this. Okay, so I don't think it's looking as good as what Billie does, but there was an attempt. The next thing that she does is she goes in and she draws in her eyebrows. Now, can I get this brown colour? Probably not. So I'm going to go in with something like this. And I'm going to use quite a saturated brush. I want to make it less kind of orange toned. And then going in with a really, really fine brush. So this one's going to be the best one for this. I'm tripping over my words, so sorry guys. And then she kind of goes in, and I've been dreading this. I wish I could zoom in even closer, but she kind of goes in, and oh gosh, that's far too dark. And she draws in like these, oh god, this is not good. But this again is something that girlies are doing to give them kind of like awesome kind of statement eyebrows. And there's an attempt happening here. Let me try again because I don't feel like that's as good as I could get it. So let's remove what I've done. I feel like I need an even darker brown, and yeah, maybe slightly less saturated, slightly softer. Let's try this again. Again, I've never tried this before, so this is something quite new to me. No, too much. I feel like this is where the art tablet is gonna come into its own. Just kind of, she kind of brushes them up like this. And then that's too much again. And then she kind of smooths out the edge here to create like a sharper line at the edges. So I don't know. I think again, with a bit of practice, I'm going to get better at this and it's going to look really cool. Again, I don't think I've got the colour quite right. And I've never tried this before, so this is definitely a very, very messy first attempt. But you can kind of see the look that I'm going for there. It reminds me of like Cara Delevingne. You know, she famously had those really cool like statement kind of almost messy eyebrows that have definitely come into fashion with, you know, younger people who are younger and trendier than me. I already have big messy eyebrows. My eyebrows are like caveman eyebrows, guys, so you know, who am I to talk? Well, that is kind of the idea. If you squint, you can probably see what I'm going for. Okay, next up, So then she puts on mascara. So I'm just going to put like mascara on either as fake eyelashes when we kind of come out of this, or I might use like an eyeliner effect once we kind of get back into normal casts. Then she uses a lip tint. Now the lip tint itself is a really dark red, but it actually comes off as something a little bit more tomatoey when she takes it off. So let me try and get this color right. Here we go. This is probably good. I'm going to actually raise this to about 3. Now, the thing with lip tint is it creates a liner effect that is a little bit more natural looking, because when you peel it off, it looks a bit more smudged. So I am going to try and do like a smudgy effect. Maybe this is going to be a better one. Perhaps, maybe. Let me make this a lot lighter. I think I'm going to try and build up this colour. So she goes kind of almost like rounded. So she's not creating kind of a cupid's bow, but she's creating kind of like a very like soft, like rounded look. So I'm going to overline around the edges of her lips as well. We're going for not so much of a cupid's bow, but a kind of almost like a Bratz doll overlined effect. But again, one that looks quite natural just because of the smudgy look of the lip liner. Again, maybe this does feel a little bit overly saturated. Again, given more time, I would probably go in and do a much softer look here. That is too much at the edges. I don't think I'm doing Billie justice here. I don't think her makeup tutorial is translating too well right now, but this is the vibe. So yeah, going in thick with that lip liner effect. Trust the process. I think she says that herself actually in the TikTok tutorial. I don't know if it was TikTok originally. I just found it on YouTube, but I'm not sure if it was a re-upload. I'm not sure where she originally posted it. So do forgive me for not being able to like cite that source. So this is how it looks when you put it on at first. And then she looks like a vampire. And then I'm just going to go in with the eraser and kind of like smudge that out a lot. So let's get this up a little bit, like here. And then, because this is kind of what happens, like you put it on and then you kind of like peel it off and it has a softer effect. So I can go back in and kind of just soften it a little bit with the eraser tool, just to get that kind of smudgy outline effect on the edges of her lips. There we go. Like I say, it looks kind of more tomatoey once she takes it off. But then she goes in with a nice brown colour, which again feels like a colour that's like a darker shade that you would naturally find on a face. And then she actually goes in and draws in some lip liner. So again, I'm going to go with a kind of medium saturation here. And it's a thicker line. It's a more intentional line that she uses for this. So let me have a go at this and see how this looks. So she doesn't have any colour on the inside of her lips, and she doesn't actually use any kind of like gloss or anything. So that is too harsh. Let me just take that off again. Sorry guys that I'm kind of like backing to a bit with this. Again, trial and error. So she's going and making her lips look rounded and kind of natural and sultry. Like this. I'm doing a bad job of this. Billie Eilish fans, please don't tear me to shreds for this. If any of you want to do this better than me and then tag me, I would love to see it. So yeah, so you do have that kind of lip liner effect, but I feel like the brown's a bit dark as well. It has that kind of like smudgy outline from the lip tint. It's so bad. There was an attempt, guys. There was an attempt. I mean, she does it so beautifully, and her lips are so gorgeous and like sultry at the end of it. So that's what I've got. That's what I've got. Let me go in with like a bigger brush and just try and kind of like blend this out a little bit. Maybe at the edges. I might go in as well with the rubber and kind of like clean up the edges a little bit. There we go. That's looking a bit more blended, isn't it? I think this is more of the effect I was going for. So it's very dark. It's darker than what Billie uses. But I tried. There was an attempt. Let me clean up the edges here. Which again is something that Billie's doing herself. She keeps going in with those Q-tips and kind of tidying it up a little bit, which I love that. As somebody who does very messy makeup in real life and in The Sims apparently. That's what I've got. That's what I've got. It's not bad. I feel like Summer's lip shape is different. I think again Billie's lips look more rounded than that, but Summer's got quite thin lips, so it's the same vibe, not quite the same look at the end of it, I feel. Making excuses. And then she actually goes over with like a powder. So rather than using like a shine, she seems to use kind of like a powdered lip effect. So let me see if I can get something similar here. Let me go in with a softer brush. And she kind of just powders all over her lips, which again is actually helping to blend it. I understand now why she does that. Like, that is much better. That is much more similar to what Billie has. I understand now. She said trust the process, and I should have trusted the process. Something else that I noticed that I didn't see her do in the video, but if you look closely, it does look like she has some kind of like pinky shimmer on the top of her eyelid. So I'm going to go in and try and like create a bit of a pinky lighter eyelid effect. Just to kind of finish off this look. Again, I think she is using minimal product because she has to go out and stand under those like hot, sweaty lights, and she doesn't want her whole makeup just kind of like dripping off her face. So that is kind of similar. What do you think? Did I do it? I feel like her eyeliner could be sharper. Maybe I just accidentally reduced some of it there at the edges. Yeah, I did. Oops. But yeah, that is my Billie Eilish makeup look. Let's go back out into normal Cass. Look at her. She looks so cute. And I'm just going to finish this off with perhaps some eyelashes. Again, like, I don't think Billie uses like fake eyelashes, but just to kind of finish it off, I think that's like a really cute look. And you know, if you wanted to as well, you could go in and use something that feels a little bit glossy on the lip. That's really lovely. I really like that look actually. Like about there, that's kind of perfect. So that is what I've got. And again, if you do want some kind of shimmery highlight, you can go in and use this this Peachy Fairy kind of highlighter. If you do actually want a bit of shine, you can go in and kind of like set that like that. And yeah, that is my Billie Eilish makeup routine. So let's get her hair down, because I feel like Billie has kind of... she has quite a sharp bob at the moment, doesn't she? So let me find something vaguely similar. Maybe something like that. And then kind of like a little bit brownie. What do you think? Kind of. A little bit, perhaps. There was an attempt. Let me know what you guys think of that. Do you think I did a good job? Do you think you could do better? If you can do better, absolutely, please do send me your oh, do you know what I've not done? I've not put clothes on her. There's a couple of things in the pack that feel like maybe Billie might wear them. Like, I'm thinking this kind of like oversized top here with this kind of color blocking feels quite Billie. And then either there's some shorts in this pack, but I think they are masculine, because she really has this kind of like tomboy or gender fluid kind of like style. So like something like that perhaps feels like it could be. It's a shame it doesn't come in the red. It has pink. I'm not loving it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these on her instead. These kind of joggers in the kind of color blocking with the big trainers as well. And I feel like maybe it's not something Billie has worn, but it's something that I wouldn't be surprised to see Billie Eilish wearing. So yeah, that is my Billie Eilish makeover. I don't think it was perfect. And like I say, if you are, you know, one thing she does have though is she actually has very, like Summer's eyes are quite large, aren't they? And I feel like Billie has really gorgeous kind of like, I don't know, I want to say squinty, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Like kind of like really sultry, like narrow eyes. So maybe if I just like reduce her eye size a little bit, that's also going to look a little bit more realistic. There you go. Tell me what you think. Do you think I did a good job of Billie Eilish's makeup tutorial, tattooing them onto my Sims? Which again, I love the idea of like the tattoo system being custom makeup. And do you think you can do better? If you think you can do this better than me, like challenge accepted, please do, and please tag me in your videos, or send me your screenshots on Twitter or tag me on TikTok, whatever you want to do, because I would love to see like how well you do at this. Like, please do tag me. I'm really excited for this feature, so I would love to see your creations when you get the pack. And that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you again soon. Bye friends.